And welcome to another episode of Spear from the Past. I chose not to play my intro video today because I'm having computer issues and playing videos sometimes does not help. Um, but we're here today to talk about World Rumble from 2018. We've got a great guest. We've got Eric Moreno. Eric, how's it going?
It's doing good. I'm very excited about this show. It's Rumble season, the best season in wrestling overall in the year. It's a good Rumble to have, so I'm happy to be here. I was just finishing watching it before this, so I'm happy I rewatch it, and we'll talk about it.
Yeah. Funny enough, I'm pretty sure last episode I had you on was another Royal Rumble. um,
It was a mania, but
oh,
similar. It's the best season. It's around
yeah.
the time.
Um, but I don't know if you watched the pre-show matches. So I
I
don't know.
forgot about
I don't
those.
think they have them
Yeah.
on Netflix now, but
Yeah.
but I'm still going to talk about them just because I did watch them. Um, they're pretty good matches. Like the first match was the Lucha Dragons, Kalisto, Grand Metalik, and Liz Dorado defeating TJP, Jack Gallagher, and Drew Gulak. It was a pretty fun 205 live match with all the things like, and despite what happened with Jack Gallagher in the end with how he turned out, like he was still a good wrestler, even though he's not a good person. Um,
Yeah, and Drew Gulak is there too, I guess.
Well, oh yeah, that I forgot
Yeah,
he's also a controversial figure now too.
yeah,
But
and TAP for a little bit. Well, that's not the point of the show, but all three of those guys, iffy.
yeah, um, but then next up we had the Revival defeating the OC, was Luke Gallows and Co Anson. Once again, like nothing of note. There was a fun match to have, and yeah, and then the last match we had was Bobby Roode doing a US title open match against Mojo Rawley, and it was a pretty good match. But it was one of those ones like they were pre-show matches, like nothing much to
That's
complain about.
certainly a trivia question. Who challenged Bobby Roode in an open challenge in the pre-show of the Rumble? Who? I wouldn't know. Mojo Rawley.
But on to the main show that we had. The first match we had was AJ Styles taking on Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn in a handicap match for the WWE title. I will say, like doing it as a handicap match it was a really unique stipulation to do for the title because like if it was either Sammy or Kevin that won it, it would have made it for an interesting storyline going forward. But the match itself was pretty good. And I don't really have much more to say about it. But yeah, what are your thoughts about AJ Styles versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn?
Yeah, starting with this match, it was bringing up a couple of memories about the storyline that Kevin and Sammy were having around SmackDown Live at the time with Shane McMahon and later with Daniel Bryan. But Daniel Bryan was involved in the story since the beginning. But it was, I'm guessing, I don't know how early they knew Daniel Bryan was coming back and he wanted to face those guys in a tag team match, I guess, or whatever the decision was there. But it was a fun
Yeah,
storyline at the time. That's a very good thing about Kevin and Sammy. They were kind of justified. In the end, they were super justified because Shane McMahon turned out to be a crappy boss as the as his dad was later that year when he turned heel. Or later that year, no, next year it was when he
yeah,
turned heel, like against the Miz, like early 2019, if I remember. It was an odd, like not an odd match in the sense like I'm always iffy when two great competitors are battling in an advantage against another one, but it was a fun finish.
yeah,
Like it was a roll up. They kind of got screwed up again because Kevin wasn't the legal man on the match, so it wasn't like a super dominant win over them. So they were kind of protected in that way, and it's always fun to see Kevin Owens like doing like stuff with the tag team format. Like this is recently he did something with Randy Orton in a tag team match where he stepped out of the ring and to do the hot tag, and he did it in this match as well. So maybe he has
yeah,
done this before. He did it recently this year, last year. I mean, so
yeah,
it was alright. Like it's a bit you kind of want more from Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn against AJ Styles, like a more more I don't know, a more ROH match. I would guess like a more high caliber match, but it was a fun match for what it was. I think it was all right.
Yeah. And then immediately following this, we had a backstage segment of KO and Sammy complaining to Shane McMahon about how about the match because KO wasn't the legal man in the ring. Shane kind of shrugged it off and just walked away. As, nothing much more to say.
Yeah,
about
this
that
was their
backstage.
Yep movement, like Yep. So it was around that time as well.
And then next up, we had the Usos versus Shelton Benjamin and Chad Gable in a 2 out of 3 falls match. See the SmackDown and Raw tag titles. I can't remember which one it was, but
Yes, it were.
yeah, but the match itself was pretty good. And it's one of those ones like my main gripe for a lot of these 2 out of 3 falls matches is I kind of wish like the other team got at least one pin, so it wasn't like a dominant victory. And it reminded me of how much I love the Usos as a team, and I hope that like after this whole bloodline thing is finished, like they kind of do team stuff again. But what are your thoughts about the Usos as Shelton and Chad Gable?
Yeah, those were my thoughts exactly at the beginning of this match. Like, oh, the Usos were a really good team, but I do like them. I do really like Jay, especially as a singles guy. So I don't mind they are not teaming up anymore. But it was so much fun during this time. Like this was a little bit after they turned babyface when they faced the New Day in a Hell in a Cell match. So they were just beginning. Like they were already over with the crowd as the Uso Penitentiary at the time. But it was really fun. The pre-match promo they did on the way to the ring, it was really good. And then the first, I agree with you in the sense that I wish the match had lasted longer because they all of those guys had great chemistry in the ring, and the first wall especially was really good. Like it's so much fun watching the Usos bounce off each other and hit. Like I remember especially the ending of that sequence is Shad avoids. I don't know which was of the Usos guys. I'm really glad you can differentiate. you can notice which one is which. At the time, I really didn't.
Yeah.
But he avoids one super kick, the other guy hits it, and then they hit a couple combo super kicks and pin him. That pin Chad Gable, and then the thing that really stuck out with me is the story before the match. It was on SmackDown. They pinned the wrong Uso again, so they got a referee that really knew how to notice them. Like in this match particularly, I guess they kind of helped him because Jimmy was wearing a necklace, so that's how I noticed. That's Jimmy, the other is Jay. So the referee was using that, but I remember hearing the Corey Graves a couple of times like mixed up who was in the ring, like which Uso was with the legal man and all that. So that story plays in the match, but the end was a little bit disappointing for me. Like on one hand, it's good that to back is not that seen often, like the two falls straight away. But on the other hand, I kind of wish I had lasted a little bit longer. But it's a big show, so it's fine. But it was a fun match. I really like this one.
Yeah, I can't. Funny enough, I watched this like last year after I spun it, but I didn't actually rewatch it this week to refresh myself. It was like, but I think they had like depending on what side the face paint is on is how you can tell them apart. Like it wasn't until they kind of started they actually split off into Yeet and No Yeet, and they're like you like when they team together, like you really can tell them apart there. But
yeah, during the beginning of the Bloodline as well, like Jay had a different style of clothing, I guess, and different hairstyle. Now the colors and the Yeet No Yeet stuff is what really makes them stand out, but it's the Bloodline story which make especially Jay stand out as a singles guy. So that's Jay Uso, the main event Jay Uso, and all that. So I forgot about the face pin. That's how they did it before.
Yeah, but next up, and this surprised me that they had the men's rumble this early on. Like I for some reason I always thought that they had them when they started doing like men's and women's rumbles. They had them back to back, so I completely forgot they had the men's one this early on in the show. But with the rumble with Shinsuke Nakamura winning, but yeah, this was a fun like I always enjoyed the rumbles. Was like for the most part, there was a lot of fun, especially especially in later years when they have some of these wrestlers doing creative ways to stay off. In this one, you had Kofi landing on Xavier Woods and then Biggie grabbing a plate of pancakes to stop Kofi being eliminated to help him get back in that ring. And then this is the year you'd Sheamus like taken out in 2 seconds.
Yeah, it was his birthday as well.
Yeah. And then Elias just randomly doing the mini concert in the ring when everyone was down at one point. And then one of the funniest moments like had was when Biggie was coming to the ring. It was like Heath Slater was down on the entrance, like he would give Heath Slater some pancakes. It was just a lot of fun New Day shenanigans.
Yeah, out of his trunks. That whole segment is really good. Like the way I would guess the first like 12 to 14 entrances is really well booked. Like you have the whole. They didn't mention this in commentary, which was weird. But Rhino is like number 3, I want to say, number 4 around that time on the entry. And then Baron Corbin comes next, and they didn't mention they team up on NXT a while. They were rivals. They do mention that, but they team up for the Dusty Rhodes Classic. They were the finalists against Finn Balor, who was also there, and Samoa Joe. And they didn't mention that. That was kind of a shame. And then Finn Balor gets eliminated, and he makes the whole disaster, and that's where the Heat Slater starts to begin. Like he is the first to lay it out. Heat, and then it's Elias. He gets the whole minute to himself. I kind of miss Elias. I wish he was still in the company. Like seeing him in this Rumble, I miss Elias. I wish he wasn't out.
Yeah.
And then a couple entries do their thing with Heat, and then the whole elimination thing is just a very cleverly booked comedy spot, especially for at the time for the WWE. Especially is really good because some iffy stuff in comedy. Like I'm happy we're not with that anymore, but this spot was really good.
Yeah. But yeah. But one thing I completely forgot is that, especially in this one, they interviewed the winners in the ring directly after the Rumble match, where you had like Shinsuke announced straight away that he was going to be coming after AJ Styles, which it's on one hand, like I kind of like the fact they're not drawing out the whole like who's he facing at Mania, is like building up the suspense. But on the one hand, like I quite like I always like the suspense of like not knowing who they're facing at Mania until like the next week, and that because it just takes away all suspense, like especially when you've got people pointing at the WrestleMania thing, and sometimes like, oh, I'm gonna go AJ Styles, like no secret here. But
Well, I mean,
yeah,
to be fair to the company, like everybody knew he was going after AJ. That was the whole deal. That they were keeping them apart the whole year for a reason. It's going to be the Mania match. Like we didn't know if he was going to be the Rumble. Like I really like the ending sequence. Like I really like for 4 years in a row, kinda. Roman was the last person eliminated because everybody was going to be happy when Roman didn't win. And this is the best use of this, and 2020 are the best uses of Roman as the very last guy, because you don't really want to see Roman win, but you really want to see the other guy win. Yeah. And Shinsuke was, regardless of who he was eliminated last, everybody was going to want Shinsuke to win. But with Roman there, there's real suspense, because Roman is always going after Brock, and that ended up being also the main match in the main event, which sucked. But that's a whole other story. That's for another pay-per-view. But I like the finishing sequence. This is probably the best final 6 we ever got in a Rumble. Like the way the sequence is booked, especially, is really good. Like first you got the 3-on-3, like the old guys is Ray, Randy, and Cena versus Shinsuke, Roman, and Finn. And then when Randy and who else gets eliminated between Randy and Ray get eliminated, it's just the Golden Boys, John Cena and Roman Reigns versus like Indie Darlings is not the right probably mentioned to the NXT guys is much better to say, I guess. Finn Balor and Shinsuke teaming up against John Cena and Roman. The whole sequence is really good, so that's pretty good. I really like this Rumble in particular, much better than other Rumbles around this time. Probably 2017 Rumble is good, 2016 is good, but this is really the last great Rumble in between 2010 and 2018, 2017. Like 2010 Rumble is also really good. Then from 2011 to 2017, it's either all right or kind of bad. And 2018 Rumble is really good, the men's Rumble.
Yeah. And then you had a backstage scene with Shane McMahon, Daniel Bryan, Stephanie McMahon, and Kurt Angle all talking about Shinsuke winning the Rumble, and then with Stephanie hinting that there will be a surprise coming later. Which I won't get into it there, but it's like it was a fun backstage segment, which hinting at a surprise, which um I will say without revealing it, it was probably one of the worst kept secrets in this time. Because I think most people knew it was happening, but then moving on, we had a very weird KFC ad, which I forgot they did with a whole bunch of superstars competing to be the KFC Colonel,
Yeah,
which was
I don't know
stupid.
when
But
like I don't remember if it happened. They say it happened live, or it was just like something they shot, and I don't remember when they presented this. Was it that the Robbie before the Rumble?
Oh no, this was in the middle of the Rumble. This was one of the ads they played during the Rumble.
Oh no, I know that. Like I saw the ad, but when did they shot this? I don't because they said they shot this at the same arena, but I don't remember if it was like a dark match or like it's not listed as a pre-show. It's not listed as a dark match. So I was wondering when it
Uh,
came up.
I would imagine it might have just been recorded before the show happened or something um I don't think they ever said when they recorded it. It was just a weird ad they played, and that it wouldn't surprise me if they even just recorded it like the week before or something, and they happen to be in that arena. I don't know, but
Yeah, it was probably like that's why I was guessing. Like it was probably during a Raw, like a dark match before or after Raw the week before or something like that, or a live event. But fun thing
yeah,
about that one, that is actually Ric Flair's last match in the WWE. Apparently, I didn't know that. The
uh,
Cardinal Flair.
yeah. And then next up we had the Bar taking on Seth Rollins and Jason Jordan for the other tag team championships. Which first off, I do think it was a weird placement for especially if you're going to use superstars who just competed in the Rumbles. Like, well, granted, like Sheamus was only in there two
Sheamus
seconds,
said it.
but
Yeah, Sheamus was pretty
I
fresh.
think
Yeah.
yeah, but I think both Cesaro and Seth Rollins were in it a bit longer. It's like so it was kind of weird to have them sort of compete after the Rumble, but the match itself was decent. Jason Jordan did spend a lot of it outside the ring. It was mostly on Seth, but from what I gathered from when I was reading online, apparently Jason Jordan had back issues at the time, so that's kind of how they were sort of working it around
Yeah,
it.
that like if I remember correctly, after this he didn't really have a match after this. Like I would guess, like he was scheduled to have the rematch for the titles, but he was I was
Yeah,
reading he was replaced by Roman Reigns, and then he disqualified the Rollins team. I'm guessing he was supposed to face Rollins at Mania or something like that, but the injuries kept
yeah,
him from that. And so I'm guessing like they booked this one ahead, then they found out about the injury and they took him out of the match during that segment, like when they
yeah,
bash his head in the post. So that's why Seth Rollins ended up doing all that. So I don't know how much it changed between the beginning of the booking and the final match. So it was kind of
yeah,
also a handicap match, I guess, in a way. This is like second
yeah, yeah.
handicap match in the show.
But what are your thoughts about the match in general?
Yeah, this wasn't for that very reason, but I remember that this one very not fresh, but I remember this one not being that much. I didn't pay that much attention, so I don't have as much to say about this one as other matches that we saw on the show. But yeah, like the Bar was always a great team. So seeing them face off Seth Rollins was always good. The Jordan stuff wasn't really working for me at the time. The whole Kurt Angle stuff. They were in a good way. Like they were setting him up to be a proper heel. He was starting to be heelish at this time. So I kind of wish Jason Jordan. Obviously, you don't wish injury on anyone, but it's kind of sad that he didn't get to do more with his career in that sense. But
Yeah,
the match itself it was there. I guess this was the most this is their match in the middle of the Rumble match and the other world title match. So that's pretty much what it is.
Yeah, and I believe Jason Jordan is still working for WWE as a producer now, though. So
Oh yeah, he shows up once in a while. Yeah, I know he's a producer. A couple of people mentioned him in interviews, like he produced this segment. He was like R-Truth had an interview recently with Chris Bleed, and he was for what I've heard, for what I've read, Jason Jordan is actually a really good producer. So he seems to be putting up good matches, and he was the one who came up. It was either him or Shane Helms, R-Truth said, that came up with the segment in this year's Rumble where R-Truth did the hot tag with Dominic in the middle of the Rumble, and he said Jason Jordan was one of the guys working with him in that. So I'm sure he's happy with what he's capable of doing, I guess, for Jason Jordan.
Yeah. But then next up we had the match for the Universal Championship with Brock Lesnar versus Kane versus Braun Strowman. And this was actually a surprisingly good match for a match featuring a whole bunch of big men. And
2018 Kane also.
Yeah. And yeah, I don't really have much more to actually say about this match. To be fair, it's just this pretty standard big man match, which with Brock Lesnar ending up winning. But everybody thoughts about this Universal Championship match.
Got a lot of thoughts about this part of Lesnar's reign, I would guess. Like not necessarily for Lesnar, but especially for Braun Strowman. Like the year before was his real breakout year. I was a big fan of Braun Strowman at the time. I really wish he had won the Universal title at this time instead of 2020 when nobody was there and he wasn't putting as great matches at the time. Like he wasn't really a wrestle guy. I would guess he isn't really one now, but he was really fun to watch in the ring, doing all the destruction. And the match was saved by that stipulation, I guess. A triple threat really allowed them to do all the plunder. I guess Kane did his job all right. Kane was there just to eat the pin. Kane was never winning that one. And then this is also the match where Braun Strowman did a knee to the head of Lesnar, or accidentally he actually hit him. So Lesnar did a receive and punch him. Like they show replays of that one as well. Like that really knocked him out for a little bit. But after that, the match was pretty decent for what it was. Like a couple table break spots. That whole Lesnar burying Braun Strowman with the announce table was really good. Like he was just overpowering. And then the story of the match was just Brock Lesnar getting rid of Braun Strowman and when he was trying to pin Kane and all that. And Kane did also cost Braun Strowman the title when Braun Strowman put Lesnar over the table with the power slam, and then Kane hit him with a chair and didn't allow the pin to happen. The whole Kane versus Strowman story wasn't really that good in the middle of in the late 2017, I want to say, because Kane turned heel once again. Oh, he was a heel. He turned Braun Strowman the TLC match the year before when Kurt Angle teamed up with the Shield against like 5 people, like The Miz, The Bar, Kane, and Strowman, and that was when Kane and the rest turned on Braun Strowman, and Braun Strowman turned babyface after that one, and that was the whole deal of their story. They had a couple matches on Raw, and then he got inserted into the triple threat in this Rumble, and that was pretty much it. Just to have Kane lose to Lesnar, but they can say now they face up against each other again. That's the whole story with the commentary.
Yep, and we'll probably never see Brock Lesnar again.
I don't know about that. I just heard that he was put once again on the Raw roster, and they did mention him a couple times on the Raw Netflix show, like more than just hinting at him. Like they did mention Brock Lesnar in a way. So I'm guessing if they are willing to put Hulk Hogan over there and get him booed, I'm guessing they are willing to try with Lesnar once again.
I mean,
that's my prediction.
I think it's one of those ones like mentioning someone because I think because I dare say like we'll probably see Brock again. I don't know if it'll be this year, especially so soon after all the allegations. I'd say like once the allegations are kind of not so much ingrained in the public knowledge, then maybe. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Right. Like they've been mentioning Brock a few times. I know New Day mentioned Brock a few times. I think it's one of those ones. I think that Brock is not so much a taboo name to say as opposed to like Benoit and Vince at this point.
That was not to get too much in a tangent because this is not part of the Rumble itself. But
Yeah,
like when they mention Vince, they don't mention him by name. They just say the last guy or the former owner or whatever. And with
yeah,
Lester, they kind of do mention him. And for what I've seen, maybe this is just more of a not. I don't want to see Lester back, to be honest. Like this is not me being optimistic of seeing him. I don't need
yeah,
to see him in 2025. I don't think he's needed. But I do think the sentiment online is a little bit more favorable for Lesnar than it seems. And Triple H being a very online guy, or maybe the higher ups would say, if we get the chance to bring Lesnar, we can try it just to see what happens. I would guess. I don't want it. It could happen.
yeah,
That's the
yeah,
company
yeah,
we are watching.
yeah. No, I think it's one. I think it's one of those ones like, and this will be the last thing I say because I don't want to get too much off topic here. But so I think if he gets added into the 2K25, then I'd say maybe they're willing to bring him back. But
Mm.
if he doesn't, then I don't see him getting brought back anytime soon.
Yeah, let's
But
hope not.
any,
We don't need.
yeah. Moving on, we had the women's Royal Rumble match, and it's one of those ones like it's good to see like the female wrestlers getting a lot of more opportunities these days, like especially with the introduction of the women's Intercontinental and women's United States titles and all that. Which honestly I think is long overdue. They should have put them in much earlier when they did start doing these female rumbles and Money in the Banks and all that. But but for the first women's Royal Rumble, this was a really fun one to kick off with, especially if you had the like all these like old ones like Kelly coming in and all that, and then you had like and like Becky and Sasha just kicking it off, being the first two in the ring, just made a lot of sense. um, then you had Naomi doing the Kofi spot by using a chair to get back into the ring, because I'm pretty sure Kofi did that in the early
And getting
Rumble.
eliminated right after she gets in the ring. That was pretty
Yeah.
fun. Yeah.
But
Yeah, she should keep doing like now since Kofi hasn't been able to do like he screwed up. Not that I could do it, like I couldn't do it, but he screwed up twice, 2 years in a row. The spot he no longer does it. Like he isn't doing it this year, because especially because he's a heel once again. But he didn't do it last year. He did. He was in the Rumble, but he didn't try it anymore because I'm done. But now can do it. That
yeah,
should be
I mean,
the passing of the torch in that way.
well, I think it's one of those ones. I think with last year's Rumble, I think it was like Kofi's like, I don't want there to be too much like big spots, because you already had like Ricochet and Logan Paul doing the whole big dive from across the ring spot, which is like Kofi's like, I'm not gonna try and top that.
No, but that wasn't last year. Like the same
Oh
year that happened. Well, I'm pretty sure it was 2023. He did try. That was the last time he tried to do a safe spot. Like he jumped to the barricade. Like if you remember, like John Morrison did this once in a Rumble as well. Like
oh
he
yeah,
jumped to the one to the side and grabbed himself. And that year he didn't manage it. His feet did land on the floor, and he was eliminated. That was the last time he tried it. And the year before that, 2022, that's when he jumped into the sharing. Well, it was very scary spot where he was thrown. He was supposed to land safely on the chair, but the chair almost make him hit his head on the commentary table. That was the very scary one. I might be mixing them up year wise, but I'm pretty sure
yeah,
last year's Rumble 2024. Like, it's kind of weird talking about last year being 2024. It's just very early in 2025, but I do mean last year, as in 2024 Rumble. That was the first
yeah,
time I noticed he didn't try like
yeah.
too much. I'm
I
not
mean,
doing
I
it
think it's
anymore.
one of I think it's probably a combination that and is like the like he didn't see any reason to do like a special save and that this last year's was but yeah. And yeah, like and I dare say he's not going to try it as a heel because like he's going to be doing this whole like not wanting to play to the fans thing. So
Yeah.
but I think my favorite moment of this was when Vicky Guerrero got and like just started screaming at the girl, like excuse me, and then trying to plead with Michelle to help her stay in the Rumble as well.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then just at the end when she's being eliminated, like Sasha's like you could see Sasha say bye bye. But all in all,
I
I
miss
think the
Sasha.
women's
I mean,
the
I
first
really like Mercedes, but I do miss Sasha Banks.
yeah um yeah Mercedes about collect as it seems. But what are your thoughts about the women's Royal Rumble?
Yeah, I was hinting at it during the other Rumble, but I do like this Rumble quite a bit. I do prefer the men's one in this year, particularly. Like I do really like the story fact. I really like Asuka was the winner. She was a rifle winner. Nobody else was winning. I don't like. I don't mind all the cameos. Like I think it's fine, but it's pretty noticeable the roster wasn't big enough to hold it. Like I'm if I remember at the time watching like Raw and SmackDown, and they had to add like five to I remember five especially like that. This is the month before they added Absolution, like Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville, and Paige came back. It's really a shame Paige didn't couldn't compete in this one because she was just injured like in a house show in December, the month before the Rumble, and they do mention it in the commentary that it's a shame Paige couldn't compete in this one. And then the Riot Squad was added in SmackDown just to have more people into the Rumble.
Yeah.
And then it's just two NXT people, but the rest is just mostly like legends, and it's okay to legends to be back because especially there's such a historic moment. But some of them, especially Michelle McCool, that Michelle McCool is the one who eliminates the most people in this Rumble. Why is Michelle McCool eliminating so much people? Like she's not a regular.
Yeah.
Like she's great. She was the one. She and Molly Holly were the ones that looked the best of the new out of the older woman, I want to say. But well, Trish and Lita also did look good. Lita didn't last that long. Also, kind of missed opportunity. They didn't bring up Lita and Trish together. Like, why not bring them at the same around the same time?
Yeah.
They did the Mickey Trish one, and it was fine. And then what else I have? Stephanie in commentary that doesn't annoy me as much as other people find her. Like I think that the whole deal, this the whole thing with the heel authority figures being the ones to do all the how you call it, the corporate chilling. Like, oh, this is such a historic moment and we're supposed to feel happy about it, but also the one telling us to feel happy about it is a heel. And that's the same thing that happened on Raw on Netflix with The Rock being the one to do, oh yeah, thank you Netflix and all that, like such a historic moment. But The Rock is supposed to be like recently a despicable heel. What is he, why is he doing that? And it was the same thing with Stephanie being the one, oh yeah, it's a great their women's revolution and all that. It was kind of annoying of her to be taking credit for it, I would guess. Like in the commentary, especially, no, you're also very important, Steph. And I'm sure backstage she's a good person. I want to guess. Out of Mac Mats is kind of iffy, but it's fine. I'm sure she's great as a character. I think it's very annoying of her to be in that position. That's the whole deal with authority figures, especially with heels. Like they are great for that stuff, but for the other stuff, it's kind of a like, why are you doing this? That's not much of a big deal with this Rumble. Like it's not important for the match itself. They like think everyone did their to the best of their abilities. But I think the final segment, especially, it's not bad. Like I like the Bellas. I'm kind of learning to appreciate them as workers, and I think they're good. Once Sasha gets eliminated, there's no chance anyone else is winning. Asuka is the most obvious winner, and the whole Nikki once again betraying Brie is fine, but obvious again. And the finishing segment isn't as great as it could be. Like if you compare the two segments, the men's and the women's, like both Shinsuke and Roman had a pretty good chance to win, but also the segment is actually very exciting. Like the whole that's one of the greatest Kinshasas he has ever hit on WWE. Like the counter to the spear and the follow up elimination, it was just really good. Against the way Asuka eliminates Nikki is too much of a protection for Nikki Bella, I would guess, and like not to blame Nikki. It's just one of those things with the booking. But it wasn't like an exciting elimination to end up like a pretty important Rumble. It was kind of a shame. It ended like a fluke, kind of. So that's why I don't love this Rumble as much. but I think it's fine. Like I'm pretty happy they got the Rumble now. Like some, especially the last couple of years, the women's Rumble, it has been much better than the men's. To be honest, like
Yeah,
last year Rumble was the women's was better than the men's. I remember, so I'm very happy it happened again. Finally, the first one wasn't the best one. I want to say the best possible way out.
yeah. I
Kind of.
mean, but yeah, no, I mean, like I agree, it wasn't the best one, but I think it's one. It
It's
was
fine.
still a good enough one for like the first was like
Like it's not.
it's what
Yeah, it's good. It's good. I don't want to claim it's
yeah
bad. Like it's good.
yeah and will say I do think it was interesting that for this one they had both Charlotte and Alexa at ringside watching the match, but yet they didn't do the same for the men's one. Um,
Yeah, like I don't think Brock Lesnar would have been happy to be there the whole match without doing anything. They didn't even try. I want to say like,
yeah,
that's fine.
but then after the match, you'd Charlotte and Alexa joined Asuka in the ring, and before Asuka could make a decision of anything, then you'd Ronda Rousey's music hits, and
Yeah,
comes out and points at the WrestleMania sign. But it was, but it was one of those ones like as I said earlier, this was probably one of the worst kept secrets. Like everyone knew that Ronda Rousey was signing this deal and that she was going to appear um because I remember we talked about the Mania which had the segment with her, Triple H and The Rock and all that.
right. That's the main we talk about. Yeah,
Yeah, and then um so yeah, Ronda Rousey came out points at the WrestleMania sign. So it was a good way to end it. It was like as I said earlier with Shinsuke, like I like it when you don't know instantly on where they're going with who's facing who. Um and it was one of those ones like because you knew that Ronda was going to probably face whoever Asuka didn't pick for the Rumble. But it was one of those anticlimactic things that because most people knew that she was coming, like it wasn't that
there was also
exciting.
this. This didn't help. The
Yeah.
whole point didn't have the sign.
But
Yeah, like
yeah. Did you have any other thoughts about this final segment of the Rumble?
yeah, like I remember at the time, like now in hindsight, I kind of wish Ronda was added to the Rumble. Actually, like her coming after Asuka's win was kind of overshadowed. Like it overshadowed Asuka's
Yeah.
accomplishment. So that was kind of a shame. Like I kind of wish. I don't know how the schedule would work. I don't know how much of a train. Like the match itself, the mixed tag match with Kurt Angle, Triple H, and Stephanie. I actually really like. It's a really good match. Like everybody says, it's a good match. It's not like hot take, I guess. But
Yeah.
if she was in the Rumble and she was one of the last, like the way they did Jade Cargill last year, like make her stand out, but also be part of the roster itself. Like don't make her bigger than the roster. Like that was kind of a. It's kind of. I don't want to say shitty, but shitty is the word that's coming up to me. Like she's bigger than all of you, and after doing like the debut of the women's Royal Rumble, like that's kind of a shame. If she's begins her career as one of the roster, like a really big part of a well pushed person, but a part of the roster, it wouldn't have overshadow Asuka's accomplishment in the win
Oh,
itself.
yeah, yeah.
And I,
There's if she was there, and then she had Trisha's spot and came out number 30, like,
yeah,
that like, 'cause she
that
was
would have
like,
popped the hell out of the crowd as well. Like
oh
Ronda's making her
yeah,
debut right now. Yeah,
yeah, because it's one of those ones like, to bring out afterwards, like, it's like if she was here the whole time, you should have just hit her at the
she
bump
should have
that,
participated. Yeah,
people
why
could at
not?
least people could see her in action as well. It was like,
Yeah, and
but
she was going to be like, well, she didn't have to do much in the Rumble itself. Like, that's why I said like maybe she wasn't trained enough. I guess like the match, the
yeah,
way the mixed tag match is booked, she's really well protected for her abilities at the time. I had to bring up what happened after the her debut and all that. Her first year, I really liked. Like, I think she did really good for what she had. like she didn't have the best screen presence, like especially as a promo. So that's why the people turn on her, and you can see the beginning of that in this one. Like when she enters, she looks really happy to be there, and really happy for her in that sense. But then like you can notice her like trying to remember her cues. Oh, I gotta do this now, and she refocused
Yeah.
in acting mode, and she's not a really good actor. So that's why the whole point of the sign was kind of awkward, because like
Yeah.
I don't know if she mistimed it or something, but the way it's framed, or not framed, but the way it's like the way the others have to act alongside her, like standing there, and then she only interacts with Asuka. Like Asuka, you can see Asuka and Ronda, and Asuka has much more. I don't want to use the word because it's overused now, but aura. Like she has it, and Ronda didn't have it when she's supposed to be acting. When Ronda's natural, she's good. Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, but when she has to act, she's not that good. So that's why that segment is as mocked as it was at the time, and kind of awkward, and kind of overshadowed the whole deal. So
Yeah.
that's it, kind of bittersweet end to the Rumble itself, to the whole pay-per-view, I want to say.
But with that, and I think I know we kind of alluded to it now, but it's like if you could go back in time and change a booking decision on this Rumble, what would you change?
Yeah, well, the change, like I would have put Ronda in the Rumble and make her like one of the final four at the very least. I would have changed a couple, like especially the final sequence of the Rumble. I would have changed. Like I really liked Bellas, but they didn't have a chance. I wish like somebody like Sasha or Becky or somebody against Asuka would have been a more exciting final two, or Ronda
Yeah.
even. Like that's not as egregious. Not that. Not that I think about it, yeah, it's probably the most important thing to change about this Rumble, because the rest of the Rumble, the men's Rumble, is pretty much perfect. I want to say the other matches, like probably wouldn't have the Raw tag team titles there if Jordan wasn't available. I guess I would have taken that match out, because this was beginning like a 4-hour show. Like it's fine for a Rumble because 2 Rumbles makes it longer, so it's fine. But probably a match less. Like it's a weird complaint to have, but too much wrestling, and now too little wrestling. I don't know.
Yeah.
It is what it is. Like remember the manias after this, especially Mania 35 was over 6 hours long, and over 8 with the pre-show. It doesn't matter as much. The main stuff is the Ronda stuff. That's what I would have changed about this pay-per-view.
Yeah. And I mean, it's one of those ones. I don't know if it was a case of they only found out sort of last minute with Jason Jordan, and that so they probably didn't. It came up too late. They didn't want to sort of take it off the card. But what I would have still swapped that with the Rumble match and put it on earlier. Maybe even put it on the pre-show and move one of those pre-show matches onto the main card or something.
Like to be fair about the placement itself, like I do agree with the way they. I probably I don't know, the SmackDown tag I would have kept probably there. The I probably would have started the show with the Rumble. I don't know. Like keep the Rumbles apart. Now that they're doing two, it's very rare to begin with the Rumble itself. I guess I don't remember a particular Rumble pay per view where the one Rumble started and the other, like I don't remember them being bookended by a Rumble match. I probably should
Yeah,
check that out after this. I probably would have done that, or maybe yeah, keep the WWE Championship, then the Rumble itself, because AJ Styles is still the champion. Like if Shinsuke had won before AJ had won his match, it would have been a foregone conclusion that AJ would have retained. So I think that's the
yeah,
way to place them. Would have taken out the Raw Rumble, then the SmackDown tag titles. I would have kept and probably give it another fall a little bit. Yeah, if you get rid of the Raw tag team title match, you get another fall for the SmackDown tag title match. So that's great.
yeah. Oh,
Perfect.
well, that
Great
yeah.
replacement. And would have had Braun Strowman win. I don't know. That's just fantasy booking overdoing. Like, but
Yeah.
that's just me, I guess.
There is there is rumors that they are talking about maybe making the Royal Rumble a 2-night event.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be interesting to
Yeah.
see how that plays out. Um,
Yeah, I don't know about. I think they are going to do it. I don't know if I want them to do it. Like I think a Rumble, like if they're doing 2 3 hour shows, that's fine, I guess. Like if we get 2 nights, hopefully the tag titles get defended once in a while in pay per view, but because they haven't,
Well,
and this year in particular. Well, last
yeah.
year.
I mean, I think yeah. No, I think if they split the Rumble into two, because that like it'll give the Rumbles more time to breathe. Because like you could like maybe have the wrestlers sort of do a bit have the Rumble be a little bit longer. Have some wrestlers like well, even though I don't know how if they'll work too much, but I think
Like
it's
honestly,
not about
they
it's
could.
about it. Yeah,
Sorry. They
yeah,
could
but
do a 40 man rumble now. Like they have the people to do that. Like
yeah,
the year they did it, they didn't have that great of a roster. Like it was 2011. That you have a lot of failure in that. Like all the Nexus made it to the Rumble, for example. Then the new Nexus at the time, all the core made it. So if you do it this year, like it's a good problem to have a stack roster. So it's not important to this conversation, but I do kind of wish they added like at the very least 10. 50 is too much. 50
Ye-
people doesn't work. Like that's too much. 40 can be done.
I don't know. I heard if you had 50 people, would be the a great Royal Rumble, maybe the greatest.
Maybe the greatest. Yeah.
um, but I don't know how to feel about the fact that next year's Rumble is going to be in Saudi. It's like, but it is what it
Hey,
is.
maybe that means Sami Zayn is winning.
Well,
Give me like a 30 seconds if you're heading. I just have to give something over to the door if you don't mind. I'll
yeah.
be right
Oh,
back.
but um, but that I'm going to um, I'm going to start doing the ratings. Like my ratings for this Royal Rumble is like I thoroughly enjoyed it. I've all my nitpicks I have with the Rumble is relatively small. So for me, it's going to be like it's going to be like 5 out of 5 stars. Because I think it's like my small nitpicks with the Rumble itself. I think are really minor. And I had a lot of fun watching this. Even the pre-show, I think it was a lot of fun. And yeah. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But I'm going to spin the wheel now to see what my next pay per view is going to be. And also going forward, this might be one that I might end up re-spinning. I'm pretty sure that one is on Netflix.
There you go. I'm back.
But Eric, what would you rate the this Rumble out of 5 stars?
Probably give it like a solid 4. It's a good show. I don't remember what I. Do you remember what I gave to Mania 31?
I don't remember.
I don't because I don't know. I probably gave that 3.5. I think 4. Yeah, 4. 4. I'm gonna stick with 4. 4. 4. I was thinking maybe there wasn't like a single. Oh, I mean, there was not a bad match. So that's good. There wasn't like any terrible booking decision. The commentary was all right. I forgot to mention the commentary. Like the only thing I was going to mention about the commentary was oof, when Jerry Lawler was brought to the men's rumble. Like he didn't bother me too much. but I hate 4-man commentary teams. You can see it, like, I don't remember when exactly the match happened, but there's a point where Jerry Lawler screams like, "When would you? Can I can I have a word?" Like he doesn't like four-man teams. They always somebody always gets screwed over. Most of the time it was Byron Saxton at the time, and Jerry Lawler really didn't stand out in his commentary role in this match. So on a way, he wasn't annoying to me. On the other, it really shows that 4-man team doesn't work. I mentioned also
Yeah.
about Byron Saxton very briefly. I normally I didn't mind him as much, and in this one, when he gets a chance to actually be passionate about the what's happening in the match, he can be really good, because the whole story with the commentary team in the men's rumble was everybody got their picks, and he picked Shinsuke Nakamura, so he really showed excitement when he was winning, when he was close to winning, and Byron Saxon who could have been a good commentary person if he wasn't stuck in a 3-man team every time. So yeah, 4 stars seems good for this rumble. It's a really good, it's a good overall pay per view with a great rumble and a great historic moment. So 4 stars seems good. What would you give it?
Yeah, for me,
Sorry, you were in. I can keep talking.
so, you know, for me, I gave it a 5 subs. I always gave my sort of spiel about this. Like it's a 5 subs. Like, well, I did have nitpicks on it. I was thoroughly entertained throughout. Like, there wasn't really too much bad about it. And had a lot of fun. But if that leads me to
I forgot about this. Sorry. No, go ahead. Sorry.
What did you forget? Yeah.
I forgot like the other thing why I gave it 4 instead of 4.5 or 5. Like I didn't hate any match on the mid card, I wouldn't say, but there wasn't like a proper, like, imagine if this rumble had also like a match similar in quality to the triple threat between Brock Lesnar, Cena, and Seth Rollins. Not specifically that match, but if it had a great rumble and a great, like, for example, take a great rumble pay-per-view like 2001's rumble, which has a like probably the greatest, the actual greatest Royal Rumble match, and then a couple really good mid-card matches for the WWE title, and I don't remember which other titles were on the line, but somebody who knows that show well can tell you. Or even 2000 Rumble, the Rumble match wasn't that great, but you always remember the tables match between the Dudleys and the Hardys. And this one has the great Rumble, great if flawed women's Rumble, and then a handicap match for the WWE title that could have been great. It was good, but could have been great. 2 out of 3 falls that was good, but could have been great. A Universal title match that was better than expected, but super predictable, and a tag title match that wasn't much of anything. So that's why I couldn't give it like a 5.
Yeah, but moving on, I've already spun the wheel for next week's show in that time where you went through the door. But next week's episode is going to be Backlash from the year 2000. So you've got matches like Edge and Christian versus DX, Bull Buchanan, the Big Boss Man against
Back
the
to stuff
APA.
is pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you had the
Well,
Rock
maybe not
versus
that one.
Triple. Yeah, you had the Rock versus Triple H.
Yeah. That one's
So
good. Yeah.
it's going to sound like an interesting show. But with that, Eric, we can be on you online.
Oh, I don't know who's talking back in the 2000, but Dean Malenko versus Scotty Hottie is really good. that I was trying to remember. That was the one show that had that match. You can find me at the Movie Hero Network like in an hour and something, like at 9. You won't find me there, but you can see my working on Lights Out. Like I write questions every once in a while for that one. And in fact, one match is just starting, so check that one out. It's Brandon Cohen versus Chad Webb. Check that out after this one. Check out White Whale of Horror, Multiplex Entertainment. I won an award this year, so that's good. And yeah, don't forget to subscribe and comment. It's not my show, but do that.
And you can find me on Tape Productions hosting Bantam every week. It'll be back this Sunday for the top 12 movies of 2024. And you can also find me here next week talking about Backlash 2000. and I pop up here and there on the Movie Network and all that from times. But until next time, we'll see you next time. As see if it'll let me end the stream without crapping out on me.
It's just the finishing line. The finish line. We're getting there.
Yeah,
Home run. It's the field goal. I don't. A sports reference. It's the end. And he probably crashed. I know you're there. You were super frozen. You're still frozen. Maybe I'm the one who's frozen. Oh, guess that's it. Probably bye. Wait for Malcolm. I'll probably head out. See you guys later.